Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and life coach Linda Armstrong here. Carlos Balasquita will be along in a few minutes. Today is Friday, December the 14th, 2018. Happy Friday, everybody. 4 p.m. New York time, 1 p.m. Los Angeles time, 9 p.m. in London and in Sydney, Australia. I believe it's around 12 midnight, so thank you if you're listening from down under. Another dose of happy here on LOA Today. And Linda, as I mentioned before, we started the podcast. We're trying to do a little experiment here to see if we can make it easier for people to share the podcast. Because up until now, if you're on Facebook, if you wanted to share it, you had to be a member of the Law of Attraction Changed My Life group, which has been great for those who are members. But then some people have tried sharing it, it didn't work, and they didn't understand why. So now we're going to also live stream it on the LOA Today page. So that would be the page to share from if you want to share. And this way we can reach everybody. I tried sharing
it too, and of course I couldn't because it's only for the group.
Only for people who are in the group, which is a little bit cumbersome. So now you can share the LOA Today link, and it'll be a whole lot easier. So how you doing? You had a good week, I hope?
Yeah, good week. Very good week.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're doing another Q&A today, so this is an opportunity for people to post their questions and raise thoughts and share comments and so forth. We actually, I don't know if we have any questions that have come in just yet. I don't see any. But we had a comment and a question that came in from a listener who had listened to a previous episode this week. He was asking a question, and I realized the question was right in your wheelhouse. So I suggested, well, why don't you ask it during the show? Well, it turns out he lives in India, and it's the middle of the night there. So I promised him I would ask his question for him, and you could answer it, and then he could listen to the recorded podcast after the fact. So let me get his question up here. His name is Suraj, and he says, where's my note on this? Okay. Give me a second here. I have to scroll back a little bit. Okay, he says, sorry I missed today's live session, but I was hearing all the conversation. Can you please tell me how telepathy works using LOA for dead or living people? Because I need to connect with my dad. He passed away 5 years back. He always wanted to tell me something, and I'm seeing him in my dreams, as well as I want to connect with my son as he is apart from me. He is also coming in my dreams, asking something, but I'm not able to hear what they want to talk with me about. So what do you think? Can you address that one?
Okay. Well, telepathy is everywhere. It just exists. All right. So when you send thoughts out, like say someone cuts you off in the car and you're driving and you start ranting. Well, guess what? That person's going to get that energy because energy is energy and it travels. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's easy to send love too, because we have this ability to move energy around, to send energy. So telepathy, you can send messages out. So the part with not hearing what they're saying, so maybe you're thinking you have to hear it with your ears.
Okay.
Okay, but you can maybe, if it happens again and you have enough awareness about you that this is coming in, see if you can feel what they want to say to you. Right? Or you can even, because when you try too hard, it makes it harder. You can even be like, well, if I was able to hear you clearly, I think you'd be telling me, and then let it flow. Mm-hmm. Let it just come out of you.
Right.
Because it probably will. Mm-hmm. So, I would, because if you can see them and feel them and know that they're present with you, that's huge.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. To me, that was like a breakthrough when he told that part.
Yeah. So the part about, you might just think you have to hear them in a certain way, like you have to hear them with your ears. Like when I do my healing work, I can't say that I hear the guidance I'm getting, like with my ears, mm-hmm. but I know it. Mm. I just know it. I go wherever I'm guided to, and it's not like it's whispers in my ears. It's just something that I just somehow know or feel. Like I can't even describe it to you, but I can definitely say probably 90% of the time, it's not auditory. Like it's not like I feel like I'm hearing it with my ears. There was more to that question. Did I hit it all, or is that...
Let's see. Well, also there was his son. So it was basically from two entities. One from his father who was passed, and the other from his
alive
son.
or dead, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
Works the same way.
Your son's in another part of the world. Your dad is in another realm mm-hmm. of energy. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be a consideration. So you can connect with I connect with my sister. She passed, and I can, I can't say I can do it like all the time, knowing that I'm doing it, but I know that I'm doing it all the time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
get that out of the way.
Okay.
But I can feel the connection. So it's almost like I can think her thoughts or feel her thoughts or
Oh, wow.
or just sense her energy. So sometimes if I'm meditating, I can feel her energy with me.
That's pretty cool.
I don't always necessarily hear her voice, but I can feel her presence and maybe something that she's pointing out to me.
Now, is there some process that you use to get yourself into the most receptive mode you can be in, so you can get, the most data you're going to get, whether it's hearing or just getting a message or whatever it is that you're getting?
Really the best way is not to try, and to just use your breath and get into that quiet, peaceful place. Maybe you tell your mind, listen, we're shutting off from all that stuff. Like, when any wandering thoughts come in that distract you, just like instead of being angry at that or feeling like, oh, I can't do this, you're just like, okay, I see you to a thought, and just like, come back later. Right now, I'm going to be talking to my dad in spirit, or right now I'm going to communicate. I'm going to send energy, thoughts, and inspiration to my son wherever he is, or something like that.
So you're being selective, really. You're being selective about what it is that you're that you're going to receive and understand and interpret.
I'm being selective.
Well, you're selectively hearing. I got double noise going on here. Let's mute this.
I'm just trying to be in the most peaceful, receptive space without trying. Because if I try too hard, then it blocks it. Really blocks it. You got to be in. And the other thing too is you want to be in a high. It's easier when you're actually in a higher vibration. That's why for me with meditation it's easier, because you take yourself into this higher vibration, where then you can match energy. Because especially with those who are past, they're in a high vibration.
That's an interesting point, because Esther talks about that. Esther Hicks talks about how when she's connecting with Abraham, she's able to raise her vibration to their level so she can receive their thought patterns, or thought blocks, as she refers to them.
Yeah. And so you can also, if you have trouble with that, you can ask your guides, assist me into bringing my vibration up so that I can connect with you or hear you or sense you in some way.
Okay.
So you can ask for help, because really everything's born out of imagination. Everything outside of us that we see, we created in some way. So why not create this open communication? Why not just decide, well, if everything's possible and if I am this magnificent creator,
which we are.
So put your attention to having an open dialogue with your dad. Without having to actually without being limited to one way of receiving. Yeah, let's put it that way.
Which is kind of what we want to do. I mean, right? We all kind of want to be through our senses, right? So that's what we look to first, and that's probably the hardest part to unlearn.
Right, because we're going to be working with your sixth sense, right? That sense that can sense and feel energy, that can send messages out, that can receive them back in again.
Right.
It's six, like the number six, sixth sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're getting people saying hello, including Michelle, who's saying that she's listening from London. So thank you for tuning in, Michelle, especially given the hour. We really appreciate that. And let's see, Deidre saying hello, and Nasha, all our regulars are saying hello. Glad to see you guys are all here. Nasha saying, how are you doing, Walt and Linda? I'm doing great. How are you doing, Linda? Nasha wants to know.
Doing great. Thank you.
All right. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, because this is a Q&A. That's our primary purpose today. And until the questions start flowing, we'll just keep talking about stuff we'd like to talk about. But we love to be able to answer questions, because it's just fun. It's like it comes to you out of the blue. Like, okay, you're on the hot seat. What are you going to say? It's kind of fun.
So you know what I'll bring in, because I know you're doing this, the book, one of Neville Goddard's books on one of your podcasts, right?
Right, with Cindy, right.
So that kind of, I don't know if it was because you're doing that, but somehow Neville Goddard came across to me again, and I really never studied anything about him. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know Wishes Fulfilled actually came from him,
Right.
Wayne Dyer thing, So that's actually kind of fun for me because having been around law of attraction for a long time, I'm a master certified law of attraction energy coach.
Right.
Even though you know how it works,
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of lose sight of it, especially when there's tougher things going on. Like for me, dealing with grief with my sister passing over the last year,
Right.
it kind of, in some ways, I wasn't tapping into a lot of what I know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to audiobook. It's a compilation of all, like 10 of his books.
Right.
And it's bringing me back to the key ingredient, which is imagination.
Yeah, right.
So if we want to get back to the telepathy part, just imagine this free flow of conversation.
Okay.
In fact, I had something happen the other day. I can't really go into the details of it, but something that was on my mind, and so I thought, I'm just going to go meditate. And I have this cool copper pyramid, so I went under the pyramid.
A copper pyramid. Wow.
Yeah, it's made, copper tubing pyramid, right?
Okay.
Because, pyramids focus energy. So pyramids are very, they're clear energy. They focus energy. It's just, it's cool. It's a good thing.
Okay.
So, I started getting in that imagination space of the wish fulfilled, right? Of seeing the outcome of this thing that was just taking a little too long in my mind.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So when you get into the mindset of it's taking too long, you get into more of that kind of heavy energy, which of course is resistance.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I'm just going to meditate and I'm just going to be in the energy of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I something told me, okay, you're good now. You can go, right? Like, okay, my meditation's over. I go to my computer. I open up my emails. First thing I do, see if anybody's trying to contact me while I was kind of off. There's an email. The answer to my thing right there.
Really?
Right there. And the other part of it too is that there's a second part of it that could maybe take time. No. Next day. Done.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
low resistance.
It's not just a coincidence.
No. Low resistance. Sorry, not coincidence. Low resistance.
No. And I didn't even hear that.
Oh.
But I'm just saying, for those people who might
I see. We cross swords. Okay.
Yeah, definitely low resistance. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as coincidence. It's either you're in the flow or you're not, and things will just kind of come in.
Right.
So it just worked out perfectly. I'm like, oh, wow. I should have done that like last week, Yeah.
That's cool, though. Yeah. That's great when that happens. Yeah, Neville's an interesting fish, really, because he thinks of it. He's thinking about the same subject, but the way he thinks about it and the wording that he uses can really throw you if you're used to hearing it from other sources. So you have to do a lot of stopping and thinking and reading really carefully. It's kind of like with Abraham. Abraham, you have to read that stuff carefully too, but Neville, it's essential because if you move along too quickly, you can lose the thread of what it is he's really trying to say, and then it comes out sounding like it's something completely different. You say, what was that? I don't understand.
So, I have a tip for that.
What's that?
Don't listen with your mind. Listen with your whole body, because you'll absorb the energy of what he's sharing, and it could just fill in the blanks of where your mind might be stuck on something, thinking he said something a certain way, because the message he's giving through is bigger than just the words that he's saying, because
True.
Even if it's somebody else who's actually narrating it, like I'm listening to it on an audiobook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The words carry the energy. And so you can imagine you're opening up to read it or hear it or see it, however it is, with your whole body, like energetically taking it in. Because even if it doesn't make sense in your mind, it'll make sense on an energetic level, which is what counts the most anyway.
That's true. Yeah, because ultimately that's the way we're trying to understand it. I have to admit that's a bit of a jump for me because I've always been very analytical in the way that I approach things. So
that's why I had to say it, because I don't find what you say. And let me tell you, there's a lot of times when I'm listening to and I'm like, I don't know if I got all of that, but I got it. I could feel it. Okay, I get it. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Some people are more.
Well, you're so attuned energetically. I mean, that's why you're such a good energy coach. But I mean, it's really obvious that you are just connected to energy on a regular basis.
It's like I can bypass my mind. I don't have to figure it out. I'd rather feel it out. Put it that way. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the way to put it.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah. I mean,
but still, it's the kind of thing you gotta listen to or read it over and over again to really get more and more of it. And that goes to my point again. More will sink in because maybe you could only hold so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's why you listen to a book a second time. You're like, I don't even remember them talking about
it.
Right. I don't remember reading that.
That happens
right?
a lot too.
That happens a lot because you're soaking in as much as you can. But something like his work, and there's lots of other people, when you visit, like Abraham especially.
Oh yeah.
When you revisit it again, you get it fuller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. The other thing that I've been noticing lately, like this morning, with this morning's podcast with Tom Wells and Alex King, we didn't really have a whole lot of questions, and we ended up talking the whole show about sleep and dreams, which is like, that's kind of like on the edge a little bit. I like to think that, well, anything is really related to the law of attraction because the law of attraction affects every aspect of our lives. So, any topic is valid. But that one was kind of really out there. A few things happened in the conversation that were really interesting to me. One thing that happened was the realization that everybody looks at the role of dreams in sleep differently, including, say, Abraham and Seth and some of the others who have been non-physical beings passing messages along. And everybody has different, very, very different, dramatically different needs where the number of hours of sleep are concerned. I mean, for instance, Alex, she gets like 1 to 2 hours of sleep and she's fine. And my sister at one point was getting 1 or 2 hours of sleep and she was psychotic. And me, all of a sudden lately I've been sleeping like 8-9 hours, which is abnormally long for me. And I mean, it's mind blowing that all of the rules that I used to know that I thought were true about sleep are not holding true anymore. And I think it has something to do with studying this topic. And even when it comes to understanding how law of attraction and manifestation works in sleep process, like Abraham, they'll say that, because your conscious mind is asleep, you're not attracting like you were before, and your momentum slows down during the sleep process. But others say, oh no, that's where a lot of your best work is done, and trying to make sense out of that, So
I'll go with that.
You go with that too?
I put myself in night school. That's what I do.
You mean by what you do in night
school? So I put it this way: I go to sleep, and I'll just let my spirit helpers, guides, whoever, angels. I'm like, listen, teach me whatever it is I need to know that's next for me on my path. I go to night school. So this way I can be downloaded, because that's what happens. I mean, your spirit, you leave your body, you're out there. So I asked to be guided to learning in my sleep those things that will take me further on my path.
And where does that lead? What kind of stuff have you gotten by doing that? Like what kind of insights or whatever?
I'm not consciously aware. But I'll tell you this, I don't remember my dreams. I'm dreaming. Like I'll wake up, I'm in a full-blown dream, but within an instant, it's gone. I might have a little bit of a gist of what it was. And, in fact, it's been happening the last couple of days. And I know what's happening is something that I'm learning or I'm building or I'm creating.
Wow.
Like some other way of promoting my business or some other offering I can give to help people in a different way. But I'm like, well, what was it? I don't remember. I know I was doing it.
Right.
What was it? So I just trust that it'll come to me in my waking day. Mm-hmm. But it's first being implanted in me, downloaded to me while I'm sleeping. So if you have your intention to go to sleep and be guided by those high vibrational loving spirit that know what it is I'm here to do, then you can request that they show you in your sleep. You don't have to remember. Maybe you do. Maybe there's someone who can see the dream, remember it, write it down, and be like, oh wow, okay, that's something that feels like that could be coming up somewhere. Just write it down. At least you have a journal of it. You can always look back.
Yeah, that's what Tom Wells does. He keeps an entire dream journal next to his bed. And he's actually trained himself to immediately, as soon as he wakes up, just start recording whatever comes to his mind. And then he goes back and reviews them periodically and looks for patterns in his dreams.
Yep, totally. I've learned that in my energy mastery course that I did. And what that teacher would recommend is, have that dream journal. And she even says, if you can't quite remember, I'm pretty sure she said, turn onto your left side and it'll help you to remember, but that you should write it in present time what you were doing in the dream. Like I was walking down this hallway and then this door opened up, and then, write it that way and you want to date it and you want to give it a name. Name it.
Name it.
Name whatever this scenario was that was part of your dream. Just give it a name. So name it, date it, write as much as you remember, and then look back like weeks later at what you were writing about, because there'll be a message along the way, like pieces of the puzzle that will come together.
Cool.
So there are times when I could do that, but mostly it's just gone. It's gone. So I know I'm really active and really busy. My dream.
So you're just kind of trusting that it's going to, you're trusting that your subconscious mind is just going to take the information, process it that you need it to process, and then as needed, just feed to you what you need when you need it.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to be able to grasp more of it, so I'm putting that request out there. And I want to be able to see more of this stuff, Mm-hmm. I remember it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is cool. No doubt about that.
We create a reality, right? So
we do.
It's feasible. There's a possibility that I can ship that.
You should be able to, I would think. Yeah. So,
why not?
That's cool. So let's see. Do we have anybody asking questions yet? Well, we've Deidre saying that she loves Neville, so she's not alone in that. A lot of people love Neville. Neville's got some really interesting viewpoints. Do we have any questions? No real questions popping up here. I get the feeling we've answered all the questions because nobody's asking questions the last day or two.
People talk about something and they'll ask a new one. But I'm feeling something in my throat chakra, so I don't know if how many people are actually listening. If you have something going on with expressing yourself or stepping into what it is you're here to do, or I don't know. But anything to do with creativity and expression, because I know there was nothing going on in my throat before I got here. And I'll pick up on energy. Walt, how about you? You got something going on?
Not in my throat, per se, no. I mean, we do have a fair number of people who are listening.
Yourself?
What's that?
Okay. So it would be you don't necessarily have to feel it the way I'm feeling it. It just has to do with expressing yourself, putting yourself out there in a bigger way, maybe. Following through on some creative project or endeavor. So anyway, just putting it out there, because if anyone has something like that going on, type in a question. Maybe there's a reason why this is showing up for me.
Yeah, there may be something coming up. So let's see if anybody is entering something. I mean, we've got a lot of crosstalk going on. This is one of the cool things that's happening, Linda, is that more and more we're getting conversations going on within the comments section. So we have we have the video conversation going on, and we have the sub conversations going on. We're all kind of feeding each other, which is really cool. I like that a lot. But nobody really saying anything about that throat chakra, so I'm not sure. I mean, I can't. I mean, we do have plenty of people who are watching. We do have a number of eyes watching right now. So
so I'm going to pick a card on it, because now I'm feeling it in my throat.
It's pretty significant then. So you don't ignore it. You pay attention when it comes along.
Yeah, there's something going on there.
Okay. Well, let's find out what it is.
Let's see if these cards will, Spirit will talk to us through these cards.
Now, you use different kinds of card decks. What kind of deck are you using right now?
This is my latest favorite. It's the Spirit Animal. Where is it? Animal Spirit Oracle.
Animal Spirit Oracle.
Colette Baron Reed.
Okay.
You can actually go on her website. I think it's probably ColetteBaronReed.com. You just Google it, and she has all of her decks online where you can flip a card and do a reading for yourself right there on her website.
Oh, really? Wow, that's clever.
Yeah. She's got probably 5 or 6 decks of her own.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. What does this card want to tell us? Grasshopper Spirit. Take a leap of faith. All right, let's see what it wants to tell us. Grasshopper. Let me show you the picture because it's nice.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah.
Number 30.
Now, the grasshopper, is that similar to the idea? I remember the old television show, Kung Fu, where the grasshopper was the label of the student, who was also the lead character in the television show. So is this is it the same kind of idea, the student?
I teach karate. We remember those things.
That's true. Yeah. You're a karate person. I forgot that. Yeah.
Let's see what it says. So it's talking about taking a leap of faith. We got it in the upright position. So it says right now, you're poised to jump into the next level of your life and move forward into something even better than you could have ever imagined. When grasshopper spirit appears, it's a fortuitous, I can't even say that word, time, a fortunate, I guess, time, to take a look into the unknown. For grasshopper spirit represents the innovative spirit that says, why not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it says faith in the powers of co-creation. You're being called to trust that this is the right time to go with that idea, that relationship, or that situation. Take risks, for abundance in all forms will show up for you. Wondrous things await when grasshopper spirit appears. You're not going to go backwards, so listen to your intuition rather than your fearful ego that resists any change and clings worriedly to what was. Luck is on your side. Jump up and forward with confidence, for spirit has so much in store for you if you only take that leap. Now, I kind of feel like, I was talking about going to night school and finding out what's next for me on my path, right?
Right.
And and then we were talking about Neville Goddard, and like really putting it out there, this creation thing that you want to create. So it could, and the throat chakra is really a creativity and getting yourself out there, sharing your voice, your ideas, your gifts, your talents. So somebody needs to take action.
Okay. Somebody needs to take action. How do you know if you're that person?
You would feel it. You would feel it. Usually the cards, you're like, oh man, that's speaking to me because I've been wanting to do this thing and I've been afraid to do it or whatever it is. I'm making up stories right now. Mm-hmm. But, take a leap of faith. Sometimes people stay in a place, whether it's a relationship or a job or a particular career,
mm-hmm. We're getting
thinking that they can't move out of it. That they're stuck there, that it won't work or it's too risky or, all that mind chatter that'll come in. That's what this card's talking about. It's like really following that inspiration within you, knowing it'll be co-created. You have help out there. Mm-hmm. Be it people in the flesh that will just come your way because that energy will be drawn together, or just spirit. We've got spirit helpers. They're there.
It's interesting. As you were describing that, we were getting this weird staticky thing on your voice, and I'm not sure what that was about.
Did you hear my words, though?
We could hear your words, yeah, but it's like your words had like a fuzz under them. I don't know how else to describe that. But
really?
Yeah.
So maybe that energy wanted to go to whoever needed that.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about, but that's interesting. I'm still learning how this stuff works.
That happened before, where I was shooting a video, and I was channeling energy because I was doing like a clearing on it, mm-hmm. and really there were problems with the way the mic was picking up, and it never happened before, right? And so it's just it's just energy. And so I believe, for me anyway, it feels like that message is there for somebody, and it was coming through. And it's not coming through my voice reading that particular card. It was coming through spirit wanting to push that message out. Probably to everybody who looks at this, right? Don't stop wasting time. Go for your dreams. You can do it. Have faith, Trust that if there's something in you that, don't deny it. Find little ways to get it out there, if you feel like you can't just make a leap, You can always baby step something to transition from mm-hmm. one place to another. Usually that's more to do with maybe jobs and stuff like that, right? I know a lot of people who've changed their whole career, got to school, had like high corporate jobs, and then, so Carlos did that. Yeah. I know a lot of people who've done that, just totally switched gears and went for it because something else was just calling them. And being that the energy on the planet is shifting so rapidly and we're all trying to catch up with it all, we're doing a lot of purging of energy as we're really being downloaded with what's next for us. And sometimes that could be uncomfortable. So I don't know if we're going to go in that direction with this thought, but it's the whole spiritual awakening thing.
I'm looking at comments here, trying to see. I'm seeing a variety of comments coming through, and I'm trying to see if there's anything specific for us to address on it. That might be something that'll explain what it is that we're experiencing here. Because I mean, that fuzz sound stayed even while you were discussing that. It was staying, and it seems to have receded now. But it makes me wonder. Somebody apparently was receiving what it was that you were transmitting. I'm not really seeing anything in the discussion that says somebody else notices what it is. So I guess maybe we just have to. Well, wait a minute. No, Deidre says, what is this? Deidre was having trouble with her signal. And she's calling my name. Okay.
Walt! Coming through the chat.
Deidre says, I think you're talking to me, Linda. There it is.
Okay. So what's going on?
Yes.
Did she pick up the phone? No.
I've actually tried to get Deidre on the Blue Jeans platform before, and she's not comfortable with doing that just yet. So we'll see if we get her to type something. But she says, yes, it's me. Okay. What can you tell us about it? Because I mean, it's fascinating. We've got this really strong energy surge going on here, and we're wondering what it is. Tell us what you can tell us about it. Because I mean, that's fascinating.
Blue Jeans, where she can type in the chat at Blue Jeans, or you have to? Or
no,
on the group.
She's in Facebook in Facebook chat sharing this information.
I can't see that. Okay.
Nasha says, I really wanted to hear it. I think she's referring to the static. Well, that's funny. This static stuff is wild. I mean, I've never had this. We've been doing these live streams now for, about 2 months now? Daily, twice daily. This is the first time we've ever had this. So this is definitely significant. What it is exactly, I don't know, but it's significant.
Is it still there now when I'm talking?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, Deidre's saying that she's having trouble with her laptop. Her laptop is behaving screwy. So whatever this energy is, it's affecting a number of people's electronics. This is really strange. Well, I'm not sure what to do with it at this point. I mean, maybe we just kind of let it sit?
Yeah, let's go on to the next thing.
Okay.
So Carlos, did you know if he's not making
I don't know what's going on with Carlos. I mean, he's usually punctual, and if he can't make it, he sends me a message. But
something really cool is happening, and he couldn't leave it.
Maybe that's what it is. I mean, there's no text from him. I don't know. This is really interesting.
Hold on for him.
This is Freaky Friday. That's what this is. Freaky stuff is happening. Wow.
Now, I don't know much about astrology stuff, but it would be fun if we had anyone who does to explain some of that, because there's
trying to think who do we know who's astrology? I mean, my sister is into astrology, but I don't know. Do any of the co-hosts do that? I don't know that any of them do. Well, it doesn't matter. That's all right. So let's see. What else is going on that's worth talking about here? That would be really interesting. Well, I can tell you in general. I think you knew my wife has been dealing with a medical issue, and she's showing definite signs of improvement, which is really, really encouraging. I haven't really wanted to get into what the issue has been for a number of different reasons, but it has affected her ability to just simply function. Simple things, getting up and walking across the room, making something to eat, basic things like that. And the last couple of days we were actually able to get out. I was able to drive around with her and, go to shops and so forth. She was able to, for limited periods of time, to get out and do that. And so things are really improving. And I'm very, very appreciative of that fact. One thing that we've both noticed while we've been going through this is how, and this is not anything new, but it's very much something that we're aware of. When you're going through something difficult like this, and this is really, really difficult. It's something that scares you to your core and so forth. It becomes so easy to fall into the negative thought patterns. It becomes so easy to just fall into all the things that are going wrong. And I've actually gotten into the habit now of reminding her whenever I hear her talking about all the things going wrong, is to say, well, let's talk about all the things that are going right, because we're seeing progress here. we're seeing improvement. She says, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And we're doing this throughout the day. It's like we're going down that negative road. Oh, wait, no, let's turn that around, turn that into a positive and get back in the positive and then sliding back off. Oh, no, turn it back into the positive. It's an ongoing thing. It just keeps going and going and going like that.
Maybe just start telling new stories and have each other build on the story.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea.
You're both feeding the energy to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Also, have her just really imagine that she's just soaking in healing energy. Like just to sit there and imagine that it's like these little little puffs of angel hearts just coming down into every single cell, healing her. Because basically, I healed my rotator cuff just by sending love to it. Mm-hmm. It's torn.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the same thing with knee injuries that I had last spring with ligaments. And yeah, it's quite an experience. In fact, I don't know, there's a woman named Leanne who is my trainer at the new gym that I signed up for this past week. And she gave me a training session today and really nice. And when we started off, she was going through with me like, what are my goals? Because that's what you're going through when you're going in the gym, right? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? And within like minutes of it, I mentioned to her, I can't remember why, but for some reason I had to mention in the context of what we were talking about that I do these podcasts twice a day, and one of them is in the morning, and that I think it interfered with what she was suggesting for a schedule or something like that. And she said, oh, what's the podcast about? I said, well, it's about the law of attraction. And her jaw almost hit the floor because she has been in a big way into law of attraction really, really recently. So, another instance of how all this stuff just comes to
Yeah, like attracts like.
Like attracts like, absolutely. So I think I just wanted to give a shout out to Leanne if she's listening in that thank you for joining the team here, joining the crew, because all that energy just keeps building. Lots of stuff going on energetically.
There's an example for your wife to hold on to. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just really hold that energy of feeling really good in her body and everything,
And I did. I shared that with her today.
Better than before.
Yep.
And just allow yourself to step into that.
Let's see. I've gotten some more input here. So Deidre says, I am so wanting to teach LOA Neville Goddard. That's all I know. And then Nasha is saying, I also felt this was me. Deidre felt it was for her, but we are connected in a most special way. And that's true. They're very, very close friends.
It doesn't have to be for one person. So
yeah.
It could be for everybody.
And Deidre says, I have been holding off. I think that means holding off on becoming someone who teaches LOA, but I can understand by listening carefully. And Nasha replies, Dee, this is honestly too funny. So something happened today, and I didn't tell anyone. I asked for the universe to give me a sign, but we both are withholding. I got the thought about my book. So she has a book. I have a writer's block. How do I remove the block in light of the law of attraction? Oh, okay, we got a question there. So she's dealing with some writer's block, and she wants to be able to remove it using the law of attraction. So how would you help her with that?
Number one, I would just start really imagining, why don't you just imagine calling this beautiful light and love to clear whatever it is that's not allowing you to express yourself. Okay, that's that throat chakra. And, I don't know if you meditate, but really it's a great space to get into and just ask for healing. Anybody can ask for healing and receive it, right? Maybe there's some things in the way that you don't believe you can actually receive it. That's the kind of things that I normally clear for people when I start working with them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is definitely you're one of the people this card was meant for, because if you're being blocked from expressing yourself through your writing, so maybe we'll just do the Neville Goddard approach, which is really the everything, I think. He sums it up. He makes it so simple and sums it up so easily, even though he uses a lot of words to do it. But basically, see your book published, see people holding it, reading it, enjoying it. Connect to where you're not blocked, where now you're like so inspired to do your next book and your next book. Like hold the energy of that and let it drive you. Because when you can get yourself back in that flow, then that inspiration's going to come in. It's going to want to come out. So, I don't know, you can maybe type another question in there if you want to take that a little further.
Let's see. The only thing new I have is Deidre said that she ended up shutting her laptop down and switched to her tablet because she was having so much trouble with the laptop. But nothing different from Nasha. Nasha, if you've got more details, feel free to share it. The other thing that this kind of ties back to what I was talking about a minute ago that Louise and I have been trying to work on, taking the stuff that we say that comes out negative and reframing it into a positive, which is kind of an Abraham concept. Try the same thing here. I mean, instead of thinking in terms of writer's block, try to think in terms of fluidity of ideas and fluidity of thoughts coming through and being able to write easily. Turn it into a positive statement of what you want instead of focusing on what you don't want.
You can do any one of Abraham's processes. You can do virtual reality where you just create this whole story of seeing tomorrow, okay? Of seeing yourself waking up, all that you normally do during the day, walking through your day, feeling inspiration coming in. Can't wait to be able to sit down at my computer or at my desk, however it is you do your writing, and see yourself like so excited to get there, and then in that space, and you're just making this connection, and you're allowing it to flow, and you're just loving it, and before you know it, you're like, oh my God, I've been here for five hours. I was supposed to go build this story and really, of course, feel it.
Right.
And it's the same thing with, segment intending, right? Pre-paving the way for it to happen. Maybe you do it that morning or right before you're going to, I'm going to be writing at 4 o'clock today. So start pre-paving that throughout the day, getting there. I kind of to me, most of this stuff is all the same thing because it's really just getting into that space of being what it is for that moment in time. So being that open channel for your pen to start writing.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And actually, she had an additional comment. Well, Nasha says she's a Reiki master, and she does cleansing of the chakras, and she's been visualizing for years for her book to get published. She says, "I give my speech as I know my book is a bestseller." So she's trying to follow that process of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
You want to start noticing and examine where the resistance comes up, and maybe have a journal of things that pop in, like those thoughts that pop in. Start to become more aware of the things that would keep you from knowing that reality. And a lot of times it's beliefs you pick up from other people. I'm not even going to try and give you any of those right now because I don't want to plant more of them in.
Right. We'll avoid that part.
But there could be lots of stuff that comes. So you got to really feel it when you connect to seeing your book published. What does it feel like? Yes,
that feeling aspect is so important because if you leave the feeling part out, you're just on the words. You're focusing on the words. You need to have the energy that's behind them.
Yeah, but so sometimes people think they're feeling what they're saying. I want you to really check in and see what you're actually feeling. Are you feeling, it's too hard. There's so many books out there. How am I ever going to get noticed? I'm just like, nobody, whatever. All that stuff that could start coming in. Oh, my uncle told me when I was 5 that, you need whatever. You need to do this. Forget about that picture you're drawing in that book. You know what I mean?
Right.
Teachers, that maybe put down the way you did your writing or in school, like regular schoolwork. You're not even thinking about being a writer now, but you're being, all this stuff that goes in. So, we can always dig for that and pull those things out, clear them. But you can start paying. If it's not happening, you want to pay attention to what it is you're actually really thinking. Like, be honest with yourself. And what are you actually really feeling? There's a lot more than those words. You got to see what it feels like.
Now she's given a few more pieces of information here. She says, I'm very staunch about my beloved. I could explain it, jumping around a little bit here. I could explain it how it feels because I get euphoric. I'm very staunch about my belief. And something well in school, no matter. I'm not sure what that's about. But she's trying to tell us she's very strong in her belief, She isn't saying a whole lot about what it feels like.
But she did say she's been blocked from writing.
Yep.
And it hasn't happened yet, right? So there's resistance somewhere. Mm-hmm. And there's even resistance in us suggesting you might not be holding the feeling, right?
Yeah, true.
So, we can't hold the feeling all the time. It comes and it goes, no matter what, because we've got all this stuff that needs to be cleared out. That needs to sometimes just be looked at. You're like, oh, wow, I actually had a thought today about how this could never happen. I didn't realize I was thinking that. Okay, look at it. Thank you, thought. But you know what? This is totally happening, so you can just take a walk. Just change the story.
So you can that's an interesting idea. You can actually send the thoughts and energies that aren't working for you. You can send them on the way. You know, you can say, no, this isn't really where I want to go. I want to go over here instead.
It's just the ego the ego will make you defend your weak points or whatever. You know, like sometimes the ego doesn't want to see that I might be doing something that's creating this not happening for me. But the truth is, if it's not happening, you're doing something to create it's not happening for you. And that happens to all of us. You're not alone in that. I mean, I got things I'm working on that aren't happening the way I would like them to happen. So I have to I'm clearing myself all the time. I'm like, okay, so what is this about? What, you know, okay, so what's the lesson I need to learn here? What is this teaching me by this taking longer or having these obstacles get in the way of this? What am I learning from that? Because when I can see the purpose to all things, even those things we don't like, then you can get past them a lot easier. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, I can be grateful for that block because it taught me this and it's actually making me more empowered to step into that new role.
She's given us some details about what the block might be. She says, yes, I guess it goes back to school. I did my best, but I failed because the nun was a bully and hated me. And then one of the teachers had to beg my mother to shift me to a different school as the nun was victimizing me.
Yeah. That's all stuff you can clear, you know? So if you can find it in your heart to forgive that person because they didn't know any better. And they're just carrying along, and I'm getting goosebumps on this, so there's something to this. They're just carrying along the same crap that was done to them, right? So really you want to release any resentment that you might have towards her, towards those experiences. See where it may have empowered you. You have to find that for yourself, where that may have empowered you in some way. Having lived through it, or your soul wouldn't have you live through it. So that's the thing. We come here with plans, a path, and things to learn, and experiences to experience. And I think I've shared it before, but there's a great book called Your Soul's Plan. Get a Deidre message. Okay, so your soul's, let me just get it, because this book is a great way of explaining that kind of thing. Your Soul's Plan, that's what it's called, by Robert Schwartz. Great book.
We have a breakthrough here. Nasha says, oh my God, you are so right. I haven't forgiven her. Oh my God.
Yeah. Doesn't do us any good to hold on to. I mean, listen, we hold on to resentment that we don't even know we're holding on to.
Well, that's why it's so cool when you discover what it is. I mean, because she discovered it. She now knows what it is. That's big.
You know, there's something else, too, which I don't know this. I'm just saying that a lot of times people who will find that a big belief a lot of people hold is that God abandoned me. God rejects me. So maybe having gone through that type of education with the nun and all, those beliefs could come in there too, you know, and that's just good stuff to get rid of. Like, you know, just take a journal out and journal anything that comes to mind regarding all that we're talking about right now. And just you're going to let yourself purge the energy just by writing it. Write out all the times you felt belittled by your teachers in school or whatever. You'll only write until all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I don't feel like writing anymore. And then you'll feel yourself expand. You'll feel your energy bigger. Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps again. So I think that you can probably do that for yourself. And
she's saying that she realized she had forgiven everybody else except for that nun, and she's so appreciative to you for helping her find that. So she's thanking you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
This is like big stuff for me, she says. It certainly is. Anytime that you have a breakthrough like that, that feels big. I mean, you can just tell inside that, oh my goodness, I just broke through on something really big.
Yeah. And also forgive yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't think of that, because it's a co-creation, right? So there's some part of you that maybe you consciously don't like the part, even if you know that you co-create. You're like, yeah, but you want to put all the blame out to the other person, but they would do their part of the play of life to teach you a certain something. Mm-hmm. So maybe it is something. Maybe it is more of a lesson in forgiveness. That's a hard one. We can't just always forgive. I feel like sometimes it takes a little work.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
But forgiveness is for you. It's not condoning the other person's behavior. It's just you're going to let it go.
That's such an important point. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I learned myself only in the last couple of years. And we think about it the other way. We think about it that, well, forgiveness is for the person we're forgiving. Yeah, but it's not. That's not what the real purpose is. The purpose is to let yourself off the hook.
Yeah, so you don't have to hold that energy around anymore. You don't need to carry that. It's heavy. It's all heavy stuff. And so you feel more light and expanded as you can let go of that. Which
is why, one of the reasons why you don't really have to even be talking to the person in order to forgive them and to get the benefit out of that.
You don't have any part in it.
Yeah.
It's just between you and your soul, and yeah.
Makes it a lot easier, too.
We'll try and find that person and say, I forgive you. It doesn't matter.
Well, people have done that. I mean, there are people who do that. But it's a lot of effort to make
something...
It's an
energetic thing. You don't need to do that.
No.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job, that's right.
The inner creates the outer. We don't like something in the outer, we got to create something within the inner.
It's so hard to remember that, but it's so true.
There's no way around it. So we just have to own it.
Very true.
Work on those things when they come up.
Hey, before we run out of time, I want to make sure I get our promo messages in. And, if you're listening to this and you're enjoying this, this is like every conversation is different. Every one of these podcasts is different, but the conversation is always really stimulating and people get all kinds of breakthroughs and interesting things happening and so forth. So you really don't want to miss any of them. So become a subscriber if you're not yet already a subscriber. We do put the links for subscribing in most of the descriptions of most of the places where this appears. I can't say it's in every place. I try, I do my best, but I can't always get it in there. So if you don't find the links in the description, just go to the homepage of the website at loatoday.net and you'll see great big icons, one for Android type devices, one for Apple and iPhone type devices, and just click the one that's appropriate for you. It'll walk you right through the process. And just like that, you'll be getting all of the episodes streamed to your phone, to your device, whatever you're using, tablet, laptop, doesn't matter, automatically every single day that we do a podcast and record it and publish it. And then secondly, when you are listening to the podcast, whether you're listening to the live stream or you're listening to the recorded version after the fact, please share on social media that you're doing that because we want more and more people to get that daily dose of happy. We want to help people get into that zone where they're able to have these great breakthroughs because breakthroughs help a lot of different people. And chances are you found out about this because somebody published something somewhere on social media. That's how you found out about it. Well, pass it along. Give somebody else the same benefit that you got. Because when we do that, what we're really doing is we're sharing the energy. And that shared energy produces amazing results. I still think, Linda, this is like my little Neville Goddard vignette. Neville says, create this little scene. My little vignette is of like millions of people getting their daily dose of happy and going out in the world and creating all these magnificent, amazing things. And sometimes I have trouble even imagining that, like 1 million people. How do you get 1 million people? And what happens when they're all creating these fabulous stuff? But, that's exciting to me.
There are billions of people on the planet.
Yeah.
We can reach everybody with, this live stream and everything. So why not?
Yeah. That jazzes me. So let's see. Do we have any more stuff here? Deidre and Nasha were exchanging some commentary. Nasha says, I guess it shaped my life. I lived this so much, and this could be my blockage, the debris of feeling it again and again. Remember, Walt, I told you over the phone that I wanted to go to her and let her know how she had destroyed me. Right, and I remember we talked about letting it go at that point, but apparently this time it really got through to you in a bigger way, and that's fabulous. She says, "Oh my God, this has been so big you can't even imagine. I even started crying. Thank you so much." Wow.
And she'll know that's a release, right? Because she does Reiki.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know what you can do too? Why don't you just write it up? Just write it all out. The forgiveness thing, you don't have to go to her physically. Write it all up. Then you go outside. You burn your whole written piece of paper and you give it to the universe. And you just send it out.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Deidre had a comment here. Let's see. What does it say? My screen is giving me a hard time here, so that's why I'm. Oh, she was giving more input to Nasha about whether or not she was live or dead, but it doesn't really make any difference because you don't actually have to give it to her directly. That's what we were just talking about.
Spirit, in a body, out of body.
Right. So, okay. Well, once again, it's been a very interesting conversation, and I really appreciate your input, Linda, because you always bring this wonderful, energetic perspective. I want to give you a chance, too, to tell people who are interested in reaching out to you on a coaching basis. How does somebody reach out to you if they want to talk about getting a little personal attention? Because that personal, especially with the kind of clearing you do, that can be really helpful to somebody.
You can just go to my website, lovemylife.coach. And on any pages, all pages, there's a lot of information about me and what I do. You can always apply to be considered for a coaching package. Mm-hmm. You can book a single session at any time, but I mostly just work in 3-month or 6-month packages. Anyway, on my website, you can find out all that you need to know, or just email me. Actually. Yeah, you could email me at linda@linda-armstrong.com. That's the one I prefer to put out there.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's all right.
Linda@linda-armstrong.com, which also feeds right to my lovemylife.coach website.
Okay.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a good weekend and a good week. And we'll hopefully Carlos will be back next time, and we'll be doing our trio again next week.
All right, great.
All right. We'll see you all next time as well here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.